Okay, so this is my second match in the DCS Juneau tournament. Go control. Uh, so I won the first one. I'm 1-0. I'm playing Tango, who is a pretty good player. Definitely above average. Let me turn the sound off. Sorry. Um, so in hindsight, I found out that he was on some kind of Angel Chaos control list with, but he's also playing Air Knight. So it's kind of an interesting deck. Um, uh, at the time, I thought he might be playing some kind of Angel Chaos with Dimension Fusion and Dark Magician of Chaos and an Air Knight. Because he was playing it the other day. Just randomly on Dueling Book, we played each other. Okay, so I think I make a pretty standard play. I set Merchant and Dust Tornado. Um, the reason I set Merchant there instead of Sangan is because my hand has Call and Prima. So Sangan was obviously more valuable. I did not want my Sangan to get crossed out. So I got to flip summon Merchant and tribute summon for Air Knight, which is pretty big because like I just mentioned, I have Call and Prima in my hand. So I'm just setting myself up for some early game success here. Yeah, don't really care that the Air Knight was killed because I'm just going to revive it. And I got rid of a power trap. So that was a 1-for-1 trade that works out in my favor. Hitting his Faith with crossout was interesting. He set Faith with Ring and did not have a spell or trap. So that could indicate that he has a poor hand and he can't really do much. He might have a lot of traps. He probably doesn't have Book because I think a better play would have been to set Book. So I get the Prima for Air Knight and I get a successful hit. So this is exactly what I was sort of setting up for by being aggressive on the previous turn. So I have the Dust that I can just hold it for Scapegoat, or in that case, the new spell trap, which like presumably he would have been able to use to deal with my Air Knight. And so by end phase Dust, by using end phase Dust there, I got another free Air Knight hit in. So that's pretty good value. Even though I was kind of saving that Dust for potential Snatch Steal, he didn't play one. So that was probably the best use of Dust. So I set Saku and Merchant. I'm just kind of building a board. Merchant is going to sort of progress my game state if and when it resolves. So he had Meta Serpent. He must have topped one of those because he didn't do that previously. And he has Knock for Merchant. That's fine. So he's probably going to swing 1,000 Eyes. It looks like he doesn't play Merchant. He's probably going to swing 1,000 Eyes. I think it's worth saving the life points here. Yeah. I'm at 53, so I think someone played Ring, right? Yeah, he played Ring on Air Knight. Turn 2. So now my hand is Go Azura, Sangan, Graceful. I don't need to play Graceful now. I'm in a good spot and I have Sangan. So let's see if he. So I'm choosing to set Sangan because doing 1,000 damage doesn't really help. Yeah, and he just used Knock, So it basically baited out the Thousand Eyes. That was an awesome exchange for me. Okay, so now I drew book. So if I want, I can be aggressive here, and I can book the Thousand Eyes to unlock a +1 graceful, right? If I get Serpent from my Sangan. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I don't really have another play. But I have a good hand if I can turn off Thousand Eyes here. And he has much fewer cards than I do. I think I'm up 3 or 4 cards. Yeah, so use Sangan to grab Serpent, then activate Charity. This game's actually going pretty fast. Alright, so I drew Breaker. It's probably a good opportunity to use Breaker. He doesn't have Ring. Let's see, when was that spell set? Oh, I think that's been down for a while. I think that's been down since, I think, unless he set Meta or Knock, which maybe he did, then that Spell and Trap has been down there for a while. Because it was set, he set MST next to a Spell Trap. Okay, so it was Call. So maybe he set Call. All right, that's just great value with Breaker, but he is only at 23. So, and I have Ring. So I can be hyper aggressive here, especially considering the fact that he probably can't answer. He probably can't answer my Ring of Destruction next turn. If he had had Book, why wouldn't he? Probably would have said it earlier instead of setting Call the Haunted. So I have Goat down and Ring down. The worst thing he can do is like Heavy Storm and play Book. So he forgot to take the 1600 damage for Breaker, which is basically the whole reason why I played Nobleman on Thousand Eyes, which is normally a waste, but I just put him into lethal damage range by doing that. So his only out is like Book, and I'm just gonna keep holding Ring until he does something. There's no reason to play it in the standby phase. If he were to play like Graceful, I'd probably chain Ring, because he would then get to see 3 new cards. I'm joking. I'm telling him I have Ring set. I think because I have I got it off Merchant like turn 1 or 2. So he has Storm. So obviously I'm gonna trigger to Ring Breaker. He doesn't have Book, so that's the game. So I was in a pretty good position there, almost no matter what. If he had Book, I would have chained Scapegoat for sure to the Book, just to put myself in a position where I can meta the following turn, and to obviously protect my life points. My life points weren't crazy high. So, so I think he's on Angel Chaos, or at least like, the Angel Chaos plus Dimension Fusion plus Air Knight variant. So, I do decide here to side because, even though I didn't see any angels or anything, I'm pretty sure he runs them. He's also running a 41 card deck, which he was using the other day. So, case you didn't watch my first match, when I play against Angel Chaos, I side out DD Warrior Lady and 2 Dust, and I side in 2 Dark Mimic, level 1, and a third copy of Book of Moon. So that's what I brought in. So this hand here, he didn't summon a monster. So it's really a perfect opportunity to do I'm getting to do a turn 1 jar, even though I went second. So by protecting the jar with Ring, I can answer any card he plays. I could arguably do the same thing with Book, and maybe I should, but if you set Jar and Ring, you can then flip Jar. If you don't have to use your Ring, you can flip Jar, and then you can ring your own Jar, which is often really beneficial because you're just taking away the opportunity for your opponent to reset your Jar. Yeah, so I got to set basically my entire hand except for Air Knight there. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to what I drew, but I set Merchant, Mirror Force, Book, and Meta. So oftentimes, it's not always correct to set a monster before you flip Morphing Jar. What you ideally want to do is draw 5 and then draw a tribute monster, or Tribe Infecting Virus, or something you can use to get rid of your jar on that turn. But since I had the Air Knight in hand, I only have 1 more left in deck, so the odds I'm going to draw the second Air Knight aren't really that good, so I just decided to go for setting the Merchant there, as opposed to just flipping and hoping I draw the second Air Knight. No, hope is not a good plan. So I got to discard a Chaos Monster, which is good, and that kind of confirms that he's probably playing Angel Chaos. Although he's playing Merchant and Blade Knight, so he's not really playing the traditional list that MMF plays. So I chose not to set any more spells and traps. I could have set another Book or a Sakuratsu. But I just gave him 5 new cards, and he could have Heavy Storm, and he does. So I kind of mitigated my potential losses there. It's really debatable here whether I should chain Book or not. I think about it for a little while. So he's going to be left with 5 cards to my face-up Morphing Jar and face-down Merchant. And then I'll have 5 in hand. So I'll still be up 1 card, and then it's going to be my turn. So rather than giving him the free opportunity to set his hand and attack Morphing Jar, I think the right play here is to not Book. If he wants to reset my Morphing Jar, I'm going to make him spend his cards to do that. I'm not going to just give that to him. So he chooses to ring. And then, yeah, I could have chained Book there. Because for some reason he's kind of telling me with the ring he wants to get rid of my Morphing Jar. Or at least that he's not going to reset it himself. So maybe I should have booked it there in response to ring. But again, on the other hand, maybe he just doesn't have a way to reset it himself. And if I had reset it for him, I'm just giving him the opportunity to, get free advantage from me. So he has BLS. And he has 2 cards that he set. So, I'm kind of thinking that he does not have Book here. Because if he had Book, he could have summoned he could have played Storm, summon BLS, book my Morphing Jar. Um, he could then attack my Merchant to make me draw a card, then attack my Jar to discard. It would have been six cards to his 2. So yeah, so that's exactly why I didn't want to book my Morphing Jar for him. So I guess he just didn't have book to punish me, which was fortunate for me. So now I play Storm. Seems pretty obvious because he just set 2. I don't really have a strong follow-up here, but I do have Sakuretsu, and I did kind of just goat lock him. So I can set Book and Saku and feel safe, and kind of tempt him into attacking, running that BLS into a Sakuretsu, which is kind of my best out right now. And I'm not going to summon any monsters to give his BLS more advantage. So my priority here is to get rid of BLS and then go back to like playing the game normally. So Sakuretsu still doesn't have book. He sets a monster. So that set monster could be bad for me. If it's, Faith is probably the worst thing it could be. So, I could be passive here and set a Merchant against across from it, but I don't love that play. Because he could just, draw a piece of Trinity, flip Faith, ruin my life. I'd rather force the Faith now. He didn't have it, but if I had forced the Faith that turn, the best card you could get back is Meta or Storm. All right, so I think that was definitely the right play, is to be aggressive with the Azura there. I got to get rid of 4 tokens for free as well. So now he's seen, he's just seen 5 new cards with the Dekoichi and then the Draw for Turn and the Graceful. He discards, yeah, so there's the Air Knight. So he's playing Chaos with Air Knight. He discards the Mimic. He just drew 2 from Pot of Greed, and he's kind of evened up the game just from that. However, I have not seen any Trinity until that Graceful that I just drew. Yeah, so I'm summoning Sangan there and using Torrential because I want to keep his Faith. I want to stop that. I don't want him to get back Pot or Graceful. That's how he's going to get himself back in the game. So I was definitely reading Faith there. Or strong potential for Faith. And the other bonus was that I got to trigger Sangan and get Serpent, which means, I got to do the Graceful right there. And I'm guessing he did not have Duo in his hand currently because he probably would have played it, given the position that he's in, being behind. So all I have set is book, so that's not super great. So I need to be careful here and kind of play tight. I'm taking the 16 from Tribe because booking it just to save 16 is not good value, and it's a tight game. So by now he probably has a book, I would say. So I'm playing meta here, but I'm not expecting the Selznose to resolve. And if it doesn't, I'm going to probably steal Tribe with Snatch. However, it does resolve. So that suggests he does not have book again. Looking at his grave, he has he's used 2 traps. So he could have another Mirror or another Saku. That's not crazy. He's seen half his deck. And that's kind of what I think I'm reading here, unless he just totally got 2 bluffs down or a goat. So the play I decided to make here is to not attack, even though life points are kind of an issue, because I want to force him to answer my Thousand Eyes without without using, without me losing momentum. Because if I had attacked and he destroyed it, then I would be left with a clear field with no monsters. And my life points aren't great either. So that's why I didn't attack. This turn, though, I get to flip knock. Great. So yeah, whenever someone sets a monster across from a Thousand Eyes, that has a really high chance to be either Sanguine or Sinister Serpent, because everyone knows about the Sook Thousand Eyes combo. So playing knock there just makes sense. It's actually going to get rid of the card and deal with that, as opposed to Thousand Eyes, which will then go down to 0 attack and not really have dealt with the card. So here, this turn, I am attacking. So there's the Mirror Force that I read. This turn I'm attacking because I don't really need Thousand Eyes for board presence now. So now I have a summon, a normal summon to use. Unlike last turn, I used it on the Serpent that I tributed. So I have the normal summon I can set. I have 2 books backing up a Merchant. And that's pretty strong. The only thing that's going to break that is probably premature or call for BLS. In which case, then I'll have to snatch. But he can't break that with meta, because I have books. And if I want to, I can, start a lock, a Sook Merchant lock. So just putting him under some pressure. So he has Sorcerer, which he, in my opinion, correctly uses. He recognizes I could be setting up a lock with Faith. But it wasn't Faith, it was Merchant. And then Merchant got me bot agreed. Pretty good. I just let the attack go through because, booking a Sorcerer is not ideal. Even though I could, do the lock, I'd still, I'd be losing book just to do, to flip my Merchant back down again. That's not a great trade. And he doesn't have Storm. He's already used Storm. So as long as I keep his, as long as I make sure he doesn't flip Faith, I'm good. He's not going to be able to touch my life. So I activate Snatch there in an attempt to, grab Sorcerer, but he has the MST. It's fine. Simplifying the game. I'm up by 3 cards now. Yeah, so I set Saku and Serpent there. The more aggressive play would have been to summon Sook and play Knock, but I'm kind of holding that Knock for his second Faith, if he has one. That Sorcerer is not going to be able to touch the Serpent, and the Serpent's just going to soak up a card every turn. If he has Knock, he might use Knock on the Serpent, and I'm okay with that because I've already used Graceful. And then, presumably over the next few turns, I'll draw Faith, and then he won't have Knock for his Faith. So that's why I set Serpent there. So he chooses to meta his Sorcerer for Ryu Senshi, which is super aggressive. And unfortunately for me, I only have Scapegoat. It's the only thing I can deal with it. And he does have Duo. So me setting Serpent there kind of backfired a little. I really should have set Knock. Then I would have had 1 Sook in hand as my only card and not been vulnerable to Duo at all. So that was a big mistake by me. I kind of realized it as soon as I ended my turn. Because playing around Duo and playing around Storm are, that's always a tension in Go format. You can play around Duo by setting your hand. You can play around Storm by holding a lot of cards in your hand, and those obviously conflict. So when one of those cards goes away, it's easier to play around the other. Okay, so I set Mimic, and he has Crossout. He top Crossout. So now he's attacking with Senshi. I think obviously I want to Goat here. He's only got Senshi. He doesn't have Serpent or anything. So it's going to take him 4 turns, and each goat is soaking up 2,000 damage. So that's pretty good for me. All I need is an out to this Senshi, because I still have Saku and 2 books. Then I'll feel a lot better about my position in the game. So I chose to set Serpent there, I think, because... and what I did was I didn't set my MST. So, to him, yeah, that could be Serpent, but I kind of made it look like not Serpent. I make that look like a 5th. You know, if I had set MST, that would guarantee for him it's Serpent. Maybe he doesn't attack it. But because I held MST, I think he decides to attack the Serpent. Good, so now I can answer Senshi. Just use priority to call Warrior, destroy Senshi. For free, actually. And then I'm going to press with Tribe, depending on what he does. I think he has Torrential left, yeah. But it looks like he doesn't have Torrential. Maybe he was thinking about booking the Senshi, but that wouldn't have worked for him either. Because Senshi has only 1,200 defense, Tribe has 1,600 attack. So he plays Goat. I'm going to not attack them, because next turn I'm going to kill them all for free if he doesn't deal with Tribe. I still have an Air Knight in my deck too, and I have Hall and Prima for the other Air Knight in the grave, so those tokens are actually a liability for him. They're locking up his field, and they're a potential source of damage for me and my Air Knights. So rather than give him an extra monster space, I chose not to attack that turn. So he's attacking with Azura, and great, I have the Saku. I've had it for a while. So I get to protect Tribe. Next turn I kill the tokens for free. So even if he has Call, I have the MST to answer Call. So I'm just going to hold the MST too. And so I think the play here is to be conservative, just destroy the tokens, and I don't know what my read is on that set card. Okay, I'm being aggressive. So I'm going to MST the set card, which I think has a chance to be Torrential or Book. It could be Call too, but that's fine to get rid of it as well because he doesn't have Sangan in the graveyard. So it is Book. He was thinking about booking his Senshi to save it from Tribe, but that wouldn't have worked. So now I can be very aggressive here and backed up by 2 books and whatever card. So I'm going to play Prima, get back Air Knight, draw a new card, destroy all the beast tokens, and get in a good chunk of damage and kind of put him on like a 2-turn clock, really, to draw an out. He has no cards. I draw Faith. I still have my normal summon, so I'm just going to set Faith. If he draws Torrential, he still loses because I just attack before I flip. Yep, he had no out. That's game 1. So yeah, he's playing 3 Chaos Sorcerer and Air Knight. Oh no, that was game 2. I'm sorry, that's the match. Wow. Yeah, because it looks like to me he sided in Blade Knight, knowing how I use my flip effect monsters. All right, good games, Tango.